So a few updates for hands up if you're an Android user. If we don't have any on the call. I know, Bev. Shit, he's walked in screen. The Android app's available now. So rather than needing to use a web browser, you can use Android. So in the New Year's, we'll be moving the accountability groups into Circle as well, because everyone's on Circle then. And that way it just keeps it one platform for to use rather than having to use multiple apps, which should work an absolute treat. The other thing is next week, there'll only be a call on Monday. So Monday at 6 p.m. And then the following week, no call. And then we're back to usual after that. Okay. So obviously use the accountability chats and all everything like that in there. That'll be fine. Timmy, mate, how are you? That moustache is looking delicious, especially with that fresh fade. I don't know if you can hear me. No, he can't. Cool. Okay, Jen. So we'll dive into the slides. The intention of today is to give you guys an overview of what I go through for when I'm setting my year up for success, because one thing that I believe is important is if you create direction and create a plan and you can hit that, you have a better year than if you just hope that everything's going to work out how you want it to go. A few things to be mindful of. Or shared this on Monday's call. I started doing 90-day game plans or 12-week game plans. I used to call them 90-day game plans back in 2014. Literally my first 5 or 6, I never completed. So depending on where you're at in regards to goal setting, if you're a guru at goal setting, you can set multiple goals. If you're not, right, meaning you've never sort of followed one through, you get distracted or whatnot, I'd only recommend setting one goal that you can give all your, I guess, spare time and focus to, because we know you already live busy lives. Everything that we're doing here is on top of that to become a better version of yourself and create better outcomes. Does that make sense? So don't, I guess, fall into the trap of getting excited about New Year's resolutions and wanting to completely transform your life in 12 weeks, which I've been guilty of. We're all guilty of. Ask yourself some honest questions around, do you really have time for this? How important is it to you? Okay, because you're going to give yourself a better shot at achieving the goal that you want. So when you think about the goals that you have, ask yourself which, if you could only achieve one of those goals this year, would have the most positive impact on you moving towards where you want to be at the end of 2012. Does that make sense? And Timmy, can you just thumbs up if you can hear me though? Yeah, cool. I'll get some slides out for the visual guys here. And if you have any questions as I'm going, one, either unmute yourself and just start speaking, which is completely fine, or two, just write it in the chat and I'll read it out. Okay. I put this video in there because that's where I was at like 10 years ago. I had no direction in my life. I lacked confidence and I didn't really know my ass from my elbow in regards to how to get anything going in my life. And this was a video I made where I was talking about what I wanted to create. I won't bore you guys with that, but literally using goal setting and planning was one of the catalysts to direct me or put me in the right direction to get what I wanted from my life. So we're going to cover what your current goal is, why it's important to you. As I sort of just touched on then, if you want to set multiple goals, you need to make sure that you've developed the skill of goal setting, because goal setting and planning is a skill. It's not just something that we go, oh, okay, I want to set a goal. Here's how we do it. Because I guarantee you, if you walked into a room with 100 people and you ask them how many have achieved goals, you'd be looking at about 80% haven't. They don't know how to set a goal. They don't know how to plan. They don't know how to establish accountability. Okay. So that then leads it into expectation versus reality. So having that honest conversation around where you're at and what you're actually capable of achieving or what you have available to achieve. Mapping out what a plan looks like. Who do you need to become? What do you need? Recommended tools and daily actions that I implement. And, obviously we'll touch on the importance of having daily actions. Joey in. So one of the first, I guess, tools that's available to that is a great way to guide what area of focus you can work on in 2023 is the lifestyle report card. Okay, so it's there based off what I believe are key areas. If you think it's too many, break it down into your own. It doesn't bother me. But key areas of your life that you can improve on. Now, when you go through that scorecard, honestly, okay, you might go, all nines, for example. Ask yourself why you scored yourself a 9 in mental health, why you scored yourself a 9 in physical health, because what you're doing is starting to understand what that looks like for you. Right? It's easy to just pluck numbers out of your ass, but if you don't know how you're establishing them, how do you expect to know whether you're improving them or you're falling behind? Does that make sense? So my interpretation of good mental health, for example, may be different to Chiz's. Okay, so and which is completely fine. We just need to establish what that looks like off our own score sheet. Does that make sense? So taking ownership and really creating the understanding of what that looks like. But for example, the goal when I started, I guess all this development stuff back in 2014, a lot of things on my scorecard was pretty average, right? I probably would have been majority of them around 3 or 4s. Okay, but the one that needed the most work out of all of them was finances. So in order to give myself the breathing space to read more, to think more, to hang around different people, to feel a little bit confident in myself, I had an idea that I wanted to remove some financial stress. So if I was going back to my 2014 self, I would, still say the exact same thing. Where do I need to get to financially to get myself or give myself that breathing space to then be able to comfortably work on my mental health, my physical health, my relationships, etc. It's very hard to improve shit when you're stressed in various areas. Does that make sense? For some of you, it may be your physical health, right? You may be killing everything else, but physically you lack energy and you don't feel good, when you notice a man walking from the bedroom to the bathroom. Does that make sense? So you need to establish that, and you need to establish what's going to take you from a 6 to a 7 or a 7 to an 8 or wherever you're at with that. Cool. This is where we start giving yourself some action steps. So make sure you go and do that as well. The expectation versus reality. So has anyone thought about what you expect of yourself in 2023? Meaning, what do you want for the year of 2023? I'll give you 2 minutes to start writing that down. And as I mentioned before, just choose one area for starters, unless you're an absolute goal crusher. For me personally, I've got a business goal, which is based around finances and growth. I've got a health goal because I just always like to have something to work towards there from a challenge standpoint. And then I've got a lifestyle goal. It doesn't get any more complicated than that for me at the moment. And if anyone would like to share theirs as well, you can post it in the chat or just unmute yourself. Yeah. Take another minute. And for some of you, you might just say, I just want to have a good year or a happy year. A vague goal sort of allows you to build a vague plan, which is quite unattainable to achieve what you want. So if you are saying something that's open-ended, that's a great start. But I would ask you, okay, well, what does a good year look like for you? Financially, what does a good year? Life-wise, what does a good year look like for you? Health, what does a good year look like for you? And this is where you've got to start digging deeper and giving yourself some expectations for what you want. So Timmy's got buy a house, run a half marathon, get contractor's license. I like it. Which half are you doing, Timmy?
I'm not that prepared yet.
I know there's a
The
few
one-
people-
The one in December next year.
What are we just making one up? We'll just run with you, Timmy.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll just do one.
Mate,
Nice
you'll be
choreo-
running
a
a
nice-
half marathon now.
A nice Coro Drive one.
Yeah, that'd be-
Sunny Coast half,
mate, you could
Yeah,
do.
done.
August.
There's a couple in like May, June.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing one. Just trying to, just set it sort of so it's a little bit of far away. That way I can do a little bit of training for it.
Have to. Gold Coast is
I
not
don't-
flat. June, July. 6
Oh,
months.
okay, that one. The flattest one possible.
Yeah, Sunny Coast is murder apparently.
I
Yeah,
can imagine.
that's a good
Alex-
starting point. I was
Alex Heads Hill.
gonna post a few big endurance challenges in the group as well of things that I'm looking at doing. If people want to get involved in those as well, from half marathons, Goggins challenge, Spartan races.
12-hour walks.
Mate, some people want to do that again. I was like, why on earth would you want to do that again? If you've
Yeah,
already
get
done
fucked. That's
Yeah,
not happening.
it. Yeah, it's like there's better.
Emotionally damaged after that.
I know, especially when you sprinted like a gazelle all the way home.
Like the last 8K or something.
Yeah,
Why do you want to get your contractor's license?
Just so I can get a bit more flexibility, I think. Like it's always been a goal
Yeah,
for me.
like, as in you want to work on for yourself, or like-
sort of start working for myself, and then even just just subbing to other guys as well.
yeah,
But yeah, just sort of, I guess a bit. I know it's like obviously it's hard work and that, but just a bit more flexibility about if I need to take, like I can make it work around, especially like having kids now, like young kids. Like our company's just flat out and it's constant weekend work. So
yeah.
I don't want
Oh.
to be missing. I don't want to be missing like my son's sport basically when he
Yeah,
starts playing.
well, give me a call another time, and I can definitely give you some pointers there. So you just got to be
Which one?
clear
Is that
about what you
Guardy?
want to.
yeah, it is, Gary.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
wondering who that
it's like-
beautiful voice was.
Yeah, I can definitely give you some pointers about that. You just need to be clear about your direction from the start and what you're trying to achieve. But yeah, we'll give us a buzz another time, and I'll have a chat with you, because it's definitely the market is so good at the moment that it is the right time to just do that hourly rate sort of subbing, where you're basically just an employee, but you're just charging $20 more an hour than or $30 more an hour than what your hourly rate is. So, yeah, all good. Give us a buzz another time, and I'll have a chat with you.
Yeah, sweet. Thanks, mate.
No
Gary, are
worries.
you offering a job, mate? Are you?
No, I was going to buy him dinner first.
Mate, it's good to have you back on, Gary. It was like Big Brother. I was like, who the hell is this? And then I was scrolling down the tabs to see a face, and it was just the big SG ball.
Yeah, I jumped on Louis marching around. That's why I've been on mute, mate. She's very noisy.
Yep, I like it. Well, thanks. Good to have you on here, and thanks for helping Timmy out. Dommy, so with yours as well, and thanks for those who've dropped theirs in the chat. To get physically fit through tracking training and nutrition, get clear on what physically fit is for you. So you have some milestones, because physically fit, we all want to be that, but what does that look like for you?
Yeah,
Is really important to get clear on.
I think I've got
Phil-
an idea. I think I've got an idea. Sorry, mate. I think I've got an idea on like what physique I want to have, but I guess like that, like you said, that's pretty vague. Like you can look at like 25 different people who are famous for their fitness levels and stuff, and like go, oh yeah, cool, that looks sick. I'd like to look like that. But yeah, 100%. Like, what were the little goals and steps that they kept pushing to get to that?
Yeah, and if it's an aesthetic one, you'd go off measurements and
Body fat percentage.
Yeah.
I think.
body fat percentage and all that sort of stuff. That's what you would be looking for, and the correlation between skeletal muscle mass, body fat mass, and muscle mass as well. So you
Yeah.
can do like DEXA scans or in-body scans, or we've got that app that I posted in Circle that you can use.
I'd, I'm sort of leaning more towards it's sort of like more so like what you and Brad do. Like you guys can both bench 100 kilos, but then you just can go run 5K. Like that's sort of the level I want to be at. Like,
Bro, so follow the hybrid program.
all right.
That's exactly what I'm like starting, because it's
Yeah.
just hybrid fitness. Like you want to be, able to be good at most things and still move well.
Kind of like what like Nick Bear is doing.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. Yep. Just all round. It's like CrossFit without having to do the Olympic lifting and gymnastics.
Yeah, cool. Sweet.
That's the simplest way to look at it.
I'll dial in and get some clearer direction on it, and then even just flick you a message type thing for accountability as well.
Yeah, flick me a message. But yeah, guys, the general thing is like if you don't have specific numbers or things that you can actually track, you're not clear enough with your goal. And if you're not clear, and going back to what Gardy was saying, even to Tim, it's like you need to be clear on where you want to go from the very beginning. Okay. So Phil says to improve my strength, golf, get better 6 strokes. Perfect. So I guess I would set some stuff around strength so you can have those milestones to tick off. All relationship, all or nothing to get help. Yeah, is work out like what that would look like for, for example, well, can you give me a bit more context around that one, the relationship, all or nothing to get help?
Yeah, when I did my wellness scorecard the other day, the only thing that's gone down is relationships. It went up and then went back down again.
Yep.
And then I went through what I talked about and discussions I'd had with the missus and that. And that's dropped off. So as that drops off, the talking drops off, well, then the relationship goes back down again. So again, it's a two-way street, obviously. But again, I tried last year to get help and it didn't work. So I'll try again. You just can't roll over.
Yep.
And then coming to the end of the year, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Have to look at a breakaway possibly, which is going to be very difficult. But yeah, I listened to your podcast last night, Lockie. You're talking about things I want to do now before I turn 50 or 60.
Yep.
And I thought, holy shit. So yeah, these are the things that I'm still doing, still hanging in there. Obviously, the 12-hour walks here, not a huge goal of mine either.
Yeah, no.
Just want to make sure that those things are still ticking over. You can't grind to a halt, that's for sure. And adventures, I just want to do something, that could be just a festival or something like that. Or going somewhere I haven't been before.
I'll go to a festival with you, Phil.
Thanks, Tommy.
Old Domper fucking on the ding rats.
Have the fucking defibs ready, mate, because I go hard.
That'd be awesome, Dom.
But
no, I've never been to one, mate. I've never been to a concert, never been to a festival.
Really?
And all my mates, what are you doing? Oh, I just I don't know. I just couldn't imagine anything worse, being drunk and hungover, losing your mates and tired. But I reckon if you and I went there, just pumped them out Franklin Waters, I reckon we'd have a fat time.
Jumper, that's my bread and butter, mate. Big day out, 16 sober.
You were telling me all these old bands you used to go see at that workshop, and I was just like, man, that actually sounds like so much fun, eh?
I went to Susie Quattro a couple of weeks ago. I haven't been to a concert for decades, and she was unbelievable. She was 71, and you just think, holy shit, the way she moves, she's cranking. And just seeing all these old farts, for just better word, they're all cranking still. They're just acting the same they were 40 years ago, just going off. It was good.
And that's a good one. So, Phil, even when you think about the relationship, all or nothing, like wanting to get help or whatever that looks like, potentially look at different ways you can change your approach around how you want to do that, right? Because if the outcome is connection and time together, it might not be, well, if it's not open to being counseling or whatever as a couple or various things like that, what else do you guys enjoy doing to think about back through your relationship, moments of time where you've connected really well? It might mean going on holiday. It might have been, walking with the kids or playing with the grandkids or whatever it is. There's different ways to tackle the same outcome, but I think the more we study things, I think we can definitely overcomplicate how we're looking to get to these things, or there must be a specific professional route on how we improve certain things. But what we got to remember is with human beings, we're pretty fucking simple when it boils down to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
realised that, mate.
yeah,
I've
so
gone
getting
through a lot
paid.
of those things.
Yeah.
And that, it is a two-way street as well. So you got to determine,
100%.
really determine the commitment from both sides. So but you can't sit there and woe is me. You got to put in.
Yeah, 100%. And then that will help you obviously get to that second point. Is it achieving that in your current reality? And as you said before, it might not be. So the things that you've written down, gents, and once again, I want you to be as specific as possible. Is it truly possible? Like I shared with the guys on Monday, 2014, I thought I was going to make $1 million in my first year of business. That was laughable, but I had the enthusiasm. So enthusiasm can obviously be extremely beneficial for you, but I lacked a lot of skills. I lacked no sales experience, business management systems, didn't have a network, didn't know how to sell anything. So it was really unrealistic, but I allowed my enthusiasm to get the better of my honest goal setting. Did that make sense? So think about the things that you need. Once again, in my opinion, the best way to get to where you want to go is find people who've done what you want to do. So even if you're looking at coaches, for example, it's why I don't do, I guess, so many different styles of coaching, because there's so many things that I haven't done personally. You can read textbooks for that if you want that advice. But like when you go, for example, Gardy giving advice to Timmy, Gardy's done what Timmy wants to do. So not only does he have the theory behind it, he also knows what impact it might take on your family, the stresses that you're going to deal with, all of that other stuff that you don't get from people who haven't done it. Does that make sense? So whether it's coaching, attending seminars, reading books, like we literally have access to some of the greatest people and their thoughts, and podcasts is a great way to help you start getting around the people that you need to be around to get the results that you want. Accountability partner. We, myself included, is guilty of letting ourselves off the hook. When you create the plan, there should be weekly action steps that you need to take to get from where you are now to where you want to be. Okay. And, I put a video out about it the other day, and a lot of people were trying to comfort me and say, there's no failure, there's learnings and lessons. And I understand that, but there's also only two outcomes in life. You either get what you want or you don't, right? Plain and simple. And if the goal is important to you and you do have a true deadline behind it, the outcome is very important. If you're just looking to get better, etc., the outcome may not be so important. You can take those lessons to continue moving. Yeah, it's steaming in here, eh?
Take shirt off.
Yeah, get it off. But from that accountability standpoint, it's like, okay, well, this is what I've committed to doing every week. Who's going to hold you accountable? Do you track it on a spreadsheet? Do you drop it in the group and go back and do the review post every week and tell people how you went? How are you going to be held accountable? For some people or business owners, it's like, well, you've got fucking mouths to feed if you don't do what you said you were going to do. Okay. The next thing is looking at balance as well. Depending on what your goal is, it generally means you're going to have a sprint at some point to focus towards achieving what it is that you want to achieve, which means you need to balance that, the yin and the yang, right? So I know a lot of people are cooked at this time of year. So even next year, like planning a long weekend or a couple of days away in October, so you can recharge and come hit that final quarter feeling refreshed. But having the long weekends in place, having professional developments in place, all of those sorts of things. This is what I use, guys, the stages of planning and goal setting. This is the secret formula. Takes a bit of time, but it'll make your whole year so simple. So you start with the macro, right? The 12-month plan, and we won't be too much longer. So for those who've got a jet, the 12-month planner is where you put in all the things that you want to do. So what I've mentioned is you've obviously got public holidays for those who have professional development events, holidays, long weekends you want to schedule in, work events, whatever that you want to put in that calendar and do that first, because then you can work back. Right. So for me, every year I try to do some development course roughly every quarter. So I think about, I guess, areas that I need to improve on from, this year it's marketing and sales. Previous years it's been various other things, but I'll jump online and just find people who are gurus at that and who are running online courses or workshops and events, and I'll get involved in that. And I'll schedule that in my calendar. Now, what you've done once you've put all this stuff in the macro part, you've got an overview of what your year can look like. If you were to just complete that, you know your holidays are scheduled, you know your long weekends are there to make sure that you're not burnt out. You know that your professional development or whatever else, it's all taken care of. Yeah. You then also see how much time you have to really do what you need to get done to achieve your goals, right? For example, if you were working towards a big fitness goal, say Timmy in December, where he wants to run a half marathon, but you can see here I'm going away for pretty much 2 months. It's like, is that going to impact you achieving your goals? Potentially. So then when you're going, okay, is this the goal that I want to achieve? Is it realistic based on what I've already got planned for the year? You can give yourself an honest response rather than getting to the end of the goal and saying, oh, fuck, I went away for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Let me justify why I didn't get what I wanted. Make sense? So from that, once you've got that macro plan, do the quarter, right? If you know where you want to be in 12 months, where do you need to be each quarter? So to achieve where you want to be fourth quarter, where do you need to be third quarter? Where do you need to be second quarter? What do you need to do in your first quarter? They're milestones. You're either going to get it or you're not. And if not, you just change things each quarter. Make sense? Same with once you get down to your first quarter of the year, what do you need to do each month to achieve your quarterly targets? Okay, so all you're doing is starting with the macro and working back. It's reverse engineering. And then obviously from your your monthly, you work out what you need to get done each week to achieve that monthly goal. For the weekly goal is your daily actions, right? That's all you focus on. So it makes something that may seem big, very attainable. Does that make sense? Any questions with that? Don't use that word.
Whenever. Yeah.
So no questions about that, boys? Sweet. So think about the standards you need to support this stuff. Obviously, your routine and structure. The discipline, the accountability. Joey. And behavioral flexibility. So especially those with kids would know that. Sometimes your plans go out the door because of a kid might be sick or whatever, and that happens for people in all walks of life, not always children, but just understanding that the outcome may still be the same, the approach to get there may be a little bit different. So for example, the standards that I have that I believe are continuing to help me get what I want with certain things is my morning routine's a no-brainer, but the 3 things is always growing my mind and my body every single day, whatever that looks like. Sometimes I get a lot of time, other times not so much, but it's like that's a non-negotiable. Right, I use a diary all year round. And I have coaches and mentors to help me. Plus I'm always in here. So once you've started writing out what the goal is and started building a bit of a plan, start sharing it in Circle, because if you want feedback, I'm more than happy to give you feedback, but I'm not going to chase everyone up to see what their goals are. But if you would love some feedback on them or whatnot, post them in Circle and I'll have a read of them. But the more specific you are, the easier it will be to plan. The vaguer it is, the harder it is to plan. So if you're getting stuck working out how you're going to get from where you are to where you want to be, you're not specific enough. It doesn't need to be any more complicated. We can use smart formulas and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not specific enough, you haven't created a plan and given yourself action steps, then how do you take action? It's not possible. Cool. Few tools I use, obviously, as I was saying, I've got a diary. Use a game plan to break that down. Accountability coach for my upskilling. Once again, I want to always be doing professional development. I set my books out, or there's books obviously in the accountability group as well, and they're based around different areas of life. It's not all just the one thing. Okay, so you're continuing to grow and learn things from different areas, and put reminders around your house. So I have my financial goals and business goals on the cupboard in our the washroom, the
Bathroom?
fucking bathroom. I don't know why I just forgot that. But in the bathroom, so when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm looking at the numbers that I need to hit and why that's important to me, or why that's important for me to achieve it. In the office, I've got like values and all that sort of stuff. So life gets busy. You can put them as a reminder on your phone. So how are you going to continue to remind yourself of what you're working towards? I can see Chizza there's got like a vision board in the background or just a heap of photos, but I'm going to assume it's a vision board. So you're finding ways to remind yourself on what you're wanting to achieve. Okay. I can't even show you my phone. Actually, maybe I can. And daily actions, like some things, I personally don't meditate at the moment. I just write a bit more, but I exercise, try and get that much sleep. I read a lot, and we do the date nights. Like those are things that are sort of important for me to get done every week. Cool. Any questions, gents?
So as I kind of chimed in, you're talking about how like your first 5 game plans or your 90-day plans, like you didn't even reach them and whatnot.
Yeah.
I've been finding, and I think this is probably coming down to not being specific. I've been finding like I'll set a goal, and then 2 months later, I'm like, I'll be like working, or whether it's financially or whatnot, and I'll just feel a bit lost. And then I'm like, well, I've got those goals written on my wall, but I just kind of like lose the traction, and I guess like that bit of like surge of energy and motivation, like shit, yeah, just set a new goal, I'm gonna fucking kill it, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And then I guess that's when discipline comes in, and then it goes down to like why are you actually trying to achieve this goal.
Yep.
Do
Well,
you?
okay, let me ask you this question. Why do you have the surge of energy when you're setting the goal?
Because I'm excited to achieve it. Like I'm excited to go, yep, sweet. I have direction, a bit of structure, something to work towards. And I guess it also gives me purpose and focus each day as well.
Yep. And why do you feel you lose it?
Probably just get sidetracked. I don't know, probably gets to the point where probably because fucking hell, Chizzy, you just threw my train of thought off. Yeah, get a bit sidetracked, and then I don't know, gets to the point where it's like, righto, mate, like we're not running on motivation now. We're running on like you've actually got to show up, you've got to put in the hard work, like this isn't going to come easy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm starting to realize now, like radio, I do struggle a bit with pushing myself beyond that bit of barrier of discipline. But now it's getting down to like I'm kind of getting very critical of myself by not pushing myself to get to that stage now. So I'm like, radio, I'm starting to make some movements in that. But I guess it could be different for everyone. But have you found from when you first started generally going, here's your goal, and then maybe like 3 to 5 dot points as to why and what you got to do to achieve it, and just keep reminding yourself each day, whether that's why, what actions you have to take in your intentions. Have you personally found that has helped you achieve the majority of your goals, or?
Yeah.
Just-
And as I said, I wasn't perfect at this in the beginning, but what I realized once again, and I was saying this before, a lot of this stuff we overcomplicate because so many people are putting formulas out. But in order to go from A to B, it's 3 things, right? It's a decision, right? You decide what you want, what the goal is. Okay, it's the focus. You mentioned there, you lose focus. That's what most people do when they don't achieve the outcome that they want. When you're setting a goal, you're so focused on it because it's like, it's goal setting time. Let's get creative and think about it. You get all emotional, whatnot. And then you need the reminders of what you need to be taking action on. The problem is when you lose focus, you stop doing the things that need to be done to get the outcomes, and you start doing a million other things. So you feel like you're busy, but you're not doing the right things.
Literally my life in a nutshell.
So, like, for example, here, how do I change this camera? Like, can you see my phone now? Yeah, like here I have my goals in white under this thing there. It's like why it's important to me and stuff. I literally have reminders fucking everywhere around what it is that I want to achieve, because I know how important it is for me to achieve the stuff that I've set out for myself in the next 12 months. I
Yeah.
know for a fact I'm going to get distracted. I'm going to have some weeks there I'm just licking my wounds going, fuck me. But like whenever I look at my phone, whenever I talk to you guys, like the reason why the game plan's set out the way it's set out, where every week it's like, what is your goal?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You don't just skip over that. Like take time to go, this is my goal, and think about it. Give it the focus that it needs. And once again, it sounds stupid to give so much time and energy to thinking and planning, but it's like, this is how you then set yourself up for the next day, right? You just day by day. I know every action that I need to do in order to achieve what I've set out to achieve next year.
Yeah.
And when you break it down to a daily action, it doesn't seem that significant, which is why it's very easy to go, I'll catch up tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you can get those things done right away, and regardless of the motivation, it's just like, go back to once again why you're doing it. If you're not feeling motivated or inspired, listen to something that inspires you.
Yeah.
Literally jump on YouTube and watch an inspirational clip and get that inspiration back. You're in control of being inspired. I don't know what inspires you, but it's different for all of us how we get inspired, but just get inspired. You're going to take more action. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
I think if say you want to lose 6 kilos, say you want to lose 6 kilos in the 90 days, you break that down to 2 kilos a month. And then you just start setting goals of 1 kilo every 2 weeks. And then you're not setting a 90-day goal, you're setting a 14-day goal.
Yeah.
And you're not losing the momentum because you're like, oh, that's so fucking far away.
That's like, honestly, yeah, 100%. Like, I'm only in week 3. I've still got fucking, 9 more to go. Like,
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
He's like, fuck yeah, I hit that goal. I made that target of losing a kilo in 10 days. Let's try to smash it out again and do it again in the next fortnight.
Yeah.
And you've got like a short-term goal that you're just trying to focus on as much as possible and not lose the momentum.
As well as majority of the goals that most people on here are setting as well, it's like, it's because you want it to become a part of who you are, right? It's the outcome's nice, like dropping X amount of kilos, Dom, and being healthier. You're more focused on sustaining those habits when it's done. You don't want it to be like a 12-week challenge where you get this outcome and then you blow back up to whatever, right? Which is what most people do because they don't have the next goal. And the actions that you're taking aren't a standard of how you operate.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine for anyone who's a business owner or even in your day-to-day life, the stuff that you need to do to help, whether it's the company that you're working for, your own business to get there, you don't just start. Otherwise, you don't get the results that you want. Right? It's like, okay, for example, every day I try and network with 3 new people every day. Once I've done my 3, I'm fucking done. But like, that's a non-negotiable. Okay. There's days where I don't feel like doing it. There's days where I go, I could catch that up tomorrow. But it's like, I do a thing called 3x3x3, which is check in with 3 people, follow up 3 leads and meet 3 new people.
Yeah.
Right. And if you work that out over the year, it's a lot of people I'm speaking with. Makes sense? But that's just, and I've done that fucking stand. It's why my network's so big, is because I've literally been doing that since like 2015, 2016.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've got like, obviously my physical and fitness, I've got a certain amount of deals I want to do to finish off the financial year to hit my financial year goal. And then I've got like a financial incentive for my first home deposit. But sort of coming down to that 3x3, like I can work a similar tool into my professional life, because obviously the more people I talk to, the more people are going to know who Dom Parker is. Fucking, my mate Bob Smith is selling a house. You know what I mean? So no, it's really, really good advice, gentlemen. Appreciate it. It's really good.
And think about, like, I think about leverage as well, right? The more people that know who Domper is, like, and this is where social media is such a powerful tool for people in business. It's like, for me to go around and talk to 100 people a day, it's very time consuming and it's very hard. But if I can put out a piece of content, for example, that does 10,000 views, I've just shaken a lot of hands.
Yeah. 100%.
Inadvertently.
Yeah.
That's why social media is such a powerful tool for anyone who's not really using it that wants their own business or whatever should probably start using it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it then helps people know by the time I do go to shake someone's hand in person, they already have an idea about me.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And as an agent, Dom, I would be using it 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm keen to. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. It's definitely something that like I'm really, really keen to get into, and even been sending like a few videos to the accountability group because I hate taking a video of myself and then looking at it. So I'm like, fuck it. If anyone's going to give me criticism, it's going to be Phil Chiser and the Stephen and the other boys. So constructive criticism that is, but yeah, I'm really keen to. I went and got myself like a little tripod and even like a ring light as well. Like, so I'm keen to, set that up at the front of properties, whether it's a sold sticker and be like, hey guys, this is a result. And then even on like a Saturday afternoon, go over how we went in the open homes and sit down at my desk. Just good information, give to that community that I want to really target. So that way I'm sort of more trusted as, it's going to sound really cliche, but more of an advisor than just your typical, let me sell your house, your dog, like real estate agent. So,
And that's the sort of thing you should say in them, because people stop and look at that and go, oh, fuck. I didn't realize people actually realize that real estate agents are so fucking
Funny.
scammy or whatever. Like, and just pay the industry out a bit.
Kind of like what that James Smith PT does. Like he'll start off as like, oh, I'm on a fucking keto diet because I'm like a sick cunt. And then he'll like fucking like smack something out of the way. And I'm definitely keen to get into that type of
Awesome.
stuff. Awesome.
So, gents, was there anything else around that? Was that helpful? Does anyone have any questions? Because now is a good time to ask. Otherwise, obviously, message the thread or use Circle to ask questions. But the intention of this was to help give you guys a really clear plan, or a plan of how you can plan to make 2023 a good year. Obviously, from here, you need to invest the time into starting with that macro idea around things that you want to achieve, holidays and whatnot. Once you've done that, you can start working back around how you're going to make that a reality. Does that make sense? So literally in years past, it's probably taken me a day. So if you don't have a full day free, you might literally work on it an hour a night for the next 2 weeks or whatnot, something like that. Office works for the calendar. Yeah, 100%. It's, if I had a influencer link for it, that would be awesome. The Office works. Appreciate it, Joey. And it's good that I was on your feed every day, Scotty. Cool, gents. If there's no questions, we'll let you rip. So just a reminder, next Friday, there's no call. The following Friday, no call, just next Monday night. So when you go to the events, you'll see Monday night if you want to jump on the call. The week between Christmas and New Year, we're off. And then we're back the first week of January. Okay, so that first week of January as well, I'm kicking my game plan off on Monday the 9th. So if you want to go over your game plan in that first week of January, jumping on the calls will be a good opportunity for that as well. And Tim's just put my office work discount plan. Yes. And the game plan has been updated. Jen, so you'll see there's an actual monthly calendar before each month in the game plan as well. That's where you can put in your things, because when we jump on the call, we're going to say, all right, Scotty, what's your next month look like? And then once that month's done, we're going to review how well you ticked off the things that you put in that calendar. Cool. Awesome, legend.
Lucky, I had one question.
Awesome.
Yep. Who's
me? Scotty. What was your 5K time? Tell us.
1940, mate.
Oh, bro. Yeah, that hurt.
Jesus just got humbled. Oh, how good.
But I know what he wanted to achieve. That's why I feel his pain. I know what he wanted.
Yeah, not good. Not good enough. Not fit enough. But I know what I did wrong, so I'll get better.
Should have just got the snip, mate. Worked for me.
Yeah.
A bit light, you reckon?
2 ounces.
I don't know.
lighter. Cheers up.
I don't know.
Because just
Yeah,
lost from the snip, but
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, lost a few kilos on that. Yeah.
Right, legend.
hello, boys.
All right.
Thanks, lad.
Bye, mate.
Guys,
See you next Monday night if you're jumping on.
good stuff.